This is Ren Smith. Coastal North Carolina has attracted immigrants for generations. For a lot of residents, that history is a point of pride. About a year ago, Shoresides producer Nick Sabrella found himself at a local Polish festival.
For the menu of the frozen foods are potato and cheese pierogi, cabbage, sauerkraut, farmer's cheese. Then we have the big box of pierogies and kielbasa. Then you can buy pancake batter and bozenza sauerkraut. That is a lady here that makes this. Isn't that cool?
That's cool. And how many years have you participated?
This is 3. I'm a newbie.
And where are we today?
You are in Castle Haynes, St. Stanislaus Polish Festival.
For anyone actually going through the immigration process, especially now, it's a lot more complicated than celebrations. And if you're trying to navigate it, you usually need help from someone who knows the system.
I have my own law firm, the law office of Vanessa Gonzalez, here in downtown Wilmington, North Carolina. The firm just turned 11 last month, and I've been practicing immigration law as a licensed attorney for over 14 years now.
As you can guess, with ICE and Border Patrol activity and constant policy shifts, Vanessa's schedule is brutal.
So my day-to-day in my firm varies quite a lot. So most of my clients are either undocumented or in a status that isn't a permanent status. So it might look like someone who's overstayed a visa or who entered without inspection, but it also might look like someone who has DACA or TPS, but they don't yet have a green card or citizenship, helping get either to the next rung on the ladder towards citizenship or helping maintain their status. It also these days looks a lot like me riding up and down Highway 40, which thankfully I drive a Prius, which feels really necessary because under the current administration, essentially every single case that is an affirmative application for relief is now being called to interview, where previously there was a bit of flexibility for waiving interviews for certain well-documented cases or certain case types.
Though Vanessa seemed committed, as the interviewer, I worried about adding to her schedule.
I'm trying to do a little better with my work-life balance, but there are also some early days that it also looked like me in the parking lot of a McDonald's with an ink pad fingerprinting a client in a rural area that we met halfway in passing to run biometrics for a case.
As part of keeping people informed and making her office easier to find, Vanessa posts a lot online. But recently, that backfired. Vanessa tells clients, if you need us, call the office, because she can't talk about confidential case details in Instagram or Facebook DMs. But people still message her there. And that's how she learned someone had created a Facebook profile using her photo, advertising immigration services, but under a different name.
And so our clients know that if they need to contact us, they should contact us at the office because I can't be talking about confidential case matters in Meta DMs, right? But folks still reach out there, and I still try to be accessible and respond to things as best as I can on our Instagram and TikTok and whatnot. And a client that follows the office socials had screenshot and sent and recognized a picture from an old business card that's like available on Google and maybe used to be on our website, that someone created a Facebook profile with a different name, maybe their own name, but it's certainly my picture. It's not even that professional of a picture. A friend took it on her iPhone camera and I put it on Canva and made a business card out of it. But they're slapped on some stock footage of visas and are advertising on Facebook their immigration law services in the name of another individual, but with my image.
She wasn't shocked exactly, just angry.
Yeah, and it's not just me, unfortunately. I'm in a lot of professional listservs and groups with other attorneys that will comment and post with each other, and it across the nation. It's been quite a few of my colleagues that are getting similar calls, uncovering similar scams, trying to brainstorm together what type of victims resources we can try to collaborate. I think what's really bad is like when you go to make a complaint on Facebook, it just gives you like a drop down and you can only just click why you're reporting the profile. There's no dialogue box. There's nowhere to like explain this is like not just a fake profile, like in a catfish way, like this is actually like criminally problematic. And I think they just have AI bots reviewing it.
And one of the most frustrating details, as of our interview, the profile, it was still up. Shoresides reached out to Meta, the company that owns Facebook, and didn't hear back. So we went looking for two things: how widespread this kind of impersonation is, and what someone can do before the damage gets worse. Welcome to Shoresides, where we tell stories about coastal North Carolina.
My name is Adonia Simpson. I am the Deputy Director at the American Bar Association Commission on Immigration. And our entity within the ABA runs a lot of direct services programs in Texas and California, but we also do a lot of national work on various pro bono projects. And tracking fraud has been something that's been on our radar for a long time, but more recently has become a lot more prevalent. So we've been tracking it much more closely.
Even the American Bar Association itself has been impersonated.
We issued a press release this summer because we started receiving communications from individuals in the community across the country who had believed that they had contracted with the ABA, with the American Bar Association, for immigration legal services. We weren't providing direct services on these cases. Generally, with the exception of our projects in California and Texas, we don't provide any direct representation. So these individuals were reaching out because they paid oftentimes large sums of money to an individual who said that they were an attorney with the American Bar Association. And we also received reports from individuals who the fraud actually went much deeper. The individuals were not only claiming that they were attorneys with the American Bar Association, they were actually falsifying government receipt notices and documents.
It turns out situations like Vanessa's are familiar.
So when it comes to communication, I think what we've seen generally is the use of social media. Individuals are contacted through various social media sites, but also we've seen instances where there's direct solicitation and communications through platforms like WhatsApp.
It ends up being this unfortunate combination. Social media channels that allow scammers access to immigrant communities that are, particularly these days, scrambling for help.
In any time that there's a lot of changes in policy and immigration, there's always a large amount of fear, and people are very desperate for services. And the need for immigration legal services has always seemed to outpace the resources available. So I think it's a situation where it's very ripe for people to try to get help, and they're just getting it from bad actors.
It makes you wonder how many dedicated, undocumented people out there think they're on the path to citizenship, only to find out they aren't the moment when ICE shows up at their door.
For some individuals, depending on their circumstances, maybe they don't attend a future immigration court hearing, which means that they could end up with an order of removal in absentia and be subject to detention and deportation in a circumstance where maybe they had a viable claim for relief to be able to stay here. So it's putting families at risk and individuals at risk. And so it really behooves people to make sure that they're getting advice and assistance from reputable immigration attorneys and legal service providers.
All you can do if you're feeling up for it is complain.
Yeah, there's a lot of the enforcement mechanisms and avenues that people have really are more on a state level. Individuals can make complaints to the Federal Trade Commission or to some select federal agencies, but generally the remedies for people that have been victimized on these sort of scams, it is a consumer protection issue. So your state's attorney general's office, many states have oftentimes departments and units that are actually just focused on immigration services fraud. So any state entities that deal with consumer protection are often a good avenue and vehicle to make a report.
So, if the problem is this widespread, why is it so hard to get an obvious fake account taken down? For that, we called Jeff Horwitz. He's been reporting on Meta for years, including investigations based on internal company documents, the kind that show how these decisions get made. He's a technology reporter for Reuters. Basically, it's incredibly tough to get a profile taken off Facebook, Meta, he says,
requires a very high level of certainty before it will take down accounts. And this is a long-standing practice of the company. If you're 75% sure it's bad, you don't take it down immediately. In fact, you probably don't even look at it all the time.
just as Vanessa suspected, her complaints are likely being reviewed by some kind of algorithm.
I guess, look, customer service at Meta, they have really chosen to forgo that in favor of automation. And by the documents acknowledgement that I've seen, the automated systems are not reliable when it comes to removing fraudulent accounts.
That, however, didn't mean Vanessa was out of options. Jeff had some ideas.
Brigading/paying Meta to verify and then reporting it again.
Though brigading can mean different things on the internet, Jeff meant to suggest Vanessa gather a large number of friends and supporters to send Facebook takedown requests regarding the profile week after week, something he's seen work. Another method is to go through the trouble of verifying her real account with Facebook, which costs money and time, but could lead to Facebook taking any similar looking accounts down.
If it were my profile and I were an immigration lawyer and people were currently doing this to my name, I'd probably do both.
Even if Meta is willing to take a fake profile down, a fake account targeting a different immigration lawyer is likely to pop up on Facebook or some other social media.
So the criminal groups behind this tend to be sophisticated, and they use Meta's platforms in sophisticated ways. I would not be shocked if targeting immigrant communities via fake immigration lawyers, is an effective method. And if it is, I would expect it to be getting used widely elsewhere.
Despite all that, lawyers like Vanessa continue to show up, using in-person visits and community goodwill and word of mouth to counteract the misinformation they see online. The job can seem insurmountable, even when everything goes right.
A lot of folks say, hey, people just need to do it the right way, right? And the problem with that is that folks love to say that without even knowing what any pathways to status are and how limited our law is. Folks that want to have lawful status in the United States, it's not for lack of motivation, lack of trying, or lack of access to me. Most people that want to have status and call the office after being screened by my office manager don't really have a pathway to place them into and don't really have a line to get into or a form to fill out. Folks who actually qualify to get some form of status, whether it's humanitarian, family-based, employment-based, it's really limited.
This is Shoresides. Thanks for listening.
Thanks to Adonia Simpson and the American Bar Association Commission on Immigration, immigration attorney Vanessa Gonzalez, and investigative reporter Jeff Horwitz. Learn more about Shoresides at shoresides.org.
Hi, I'm Ren Smith. Public media, community media is essential. It's how we reflect our world, organize, and connect. This year, Shoresides has been challenged by Newsmatch, which means every dollar you give between November 1st and December 31st will be matched dollar for dollar. It takes about $410 to produce a Shoresides story covering our producers, the tools, and the time it takes to get right. Help us. Whether it's a little or a lot, your support goes a long way. Visit shoresides.org. That's www.shoresides.org. And thanks for listening.